My name is Gloria Kolb. I am the CEO and co-founder of ELITONE, which makes the ELITONE device. Our website is elitone.com. And in this website, we have a bunch of resources. One of our most popular articles by far is all about Kegel exercisers, AKA pelvic floor exercisers. And so we thought we would do a video about that. So what are Kegel exercisers, why use them, and how they help? And I will just show a few of them. And so let's get down to it. So a little bit about the background, right? We're talking about the pelvic floor area. We're talking about the area that nobody talks about and that it's taboo. I did a Google search on it. There's actually like 50 names for it down there. And there is a prestigious medical university nearby, and the pelvic floor physical therapists there just called it the hoo-ha, which I think is pretty funny. So that is what we're talking about today. It's super important and it doesn't get enough attention. What we're specifically talking about is there are pelvic floor muscles that connect your pubic bone, pretty much it's attached at the pubic bone and then attached at the tailbone. Think of it like a hammock. It's kind of suspended. It supports all the organs above it. So it's actually layers of crisscrossing muscles, and those muscles actually go in various directions, but they all have a hole that encircle the urethra, which is the outlet for the bladder. They encircle the vagina, and then they encircle the rectum. So they allow those outlets there. And when they are strong, it supports everything up there. When they are weak, unfortunately, the muscles get thin, it starts to droop, they're not supporting all those organs above it. So what happens when you have weak muscles? Like any of the other muscles, use it or lose it. When they're weak, typically what women see is incontinence. Think about if you sneeze, it's actually abdominal muscles that are contracting, but that abdominal muscles is pushing down on the bladder. And then when it pushes down on the bladder, you need the pelvic floor muscles underneath it to keep that valve closed, to keep the urine in. And when it's weak, it can't keep it closed under that pressure. So there's incontinence, prolapse. Prolapse is when all those organs above it, the uterus, the bladder, the rectum, they start to fall, they start to sag. So Kegel exercises can help with that. And a strong muscles means that you're tighter down there in bed. Now, because it's Valentine's month, I thought I'd give a little bit of research. The American Urological Association did publish a study that women who have incontinence significantly have lower sexual function. They avoid sex more, and so have less sex and less satisfaction, of course. What was interesting about this study is they also had a spillover. Their partners had more problems getting it up. So incontinence and intimacy, we can have a whole nother video talking about all the bad effects about it. But I just want to, summarize that it takes a toll on your self-image. And so that is one of the things that we hope to combat here. So what should you do? You should do those Kegel exercises or the pelvic floor exercises. We're not going to talk about how to do them in this video because that is a whole nother video in itself. However, I just want to, relay that a quarter of women do Kegel exercises incorrectly, and the rest often do them insufficiently. That's not surprising because what the doctors say is you need to do them 3 times a day, 6 to 10 reps each. That is 45, 50 Kegel contractions throughout your day, which it's not surprisingly that it's really hard to keep them up, keep up with the regimen, because it's a life sentence to keep doing that every day. So what Kegel exercises are tools. They're tools to help you do those Kegel exercises. They're tools to help strengthen those pelvic floor muscles. We group them into two categories. You have the categories that are the trainers, and essentially that's what it does. It's just trying to train you how to do those Kegel exercises correctly. And then you have the stimulators, and those devices actually do them for you, and they can do them for you longer and stronger than you could on your own. And they typically are fairly strong. So let's go back to the trainers. At the very simplest form, you have the Kegel weights, such as this. Very simple. I think it's probably silicone coated, pretty inexpensive. This one was $20. And all you do is place them up your vagina, squeeze so that it doesn't fall out. And when you are good at that, you can go to heavier weights. So this came with a set of two, and to give you perspective, this is 2.5 ounces, and this is 4 ounces. I've seen some sets that go up to 8 different graduated weights. You may also hear them called Kegel balls, Kegel cones. I think there's a bunch of other names for it, Benoit, eggs, but fairly simple. What you should know is they are often not FDA cleared for anything. The instructions on this one, which was from Germany, said it was actually a toy. And others, if they do say there's any FDA clearance, is often just as a general wellness device. So the next category of trainers actually are called biofeedback devices. They become more popular because they've been able to gamify it. So they're often connected to your an app on your phone via Bluetooth, and they just tell you, they give you feedback. Are you squeezing? How much are you squeezing? Can you squeeze on cue? Some of the games I've seen, you have a little bird fly and then you need to jump over something. So squeeze now. Those can be very helpful to get you engaged to, keep doing them. But they do take your time. You need to carve out 15, 20 minutes of your day to do these and to do them on your app. Now, keep in mind, all these vaginal devices, there's a 20% risk of infection from the research that we've seen, because you have to clean them and you're putting them in an area that is full of flora, fauna, and bacteria could grow, not just vaginal infections, but UTIs often. You need privacy. You can't do them when you have little kids running around. And then you need to carve out that time, as I mentioned before. So those are what we consider trainers. Now, on the next level is the stimulation devices. And I should mention those with the apps, they can run anywhere between $100 to $200. Now, the stimulators, they do the exercises for you. And so I have one example. It's quite large. This one, you can actually pump up to be even larger, and you stick this into your vagina. This one has a metal bit there and a metal bit there. Those are called electrodes. And what it does is it sends current through your vagina to tell those pelvic floor muscles to contract. Again, you need privacy, you need dedicated time. There is risk of infection, but it is fairly strong. So if you absolutely don't know how to, where those pelvic floor muscles are, it will contract them for you. There is another group of stimulators that you might have heard about if you talk to your doctor about it. They're magnetic stimulation, and you sit on it, and you can sit on it with your clothes on. They're very expensive, so they're typically only at doctor's offices. They cost $200,000 for the doctor, so you might see him or her pushing this treatment on you. Typically, I believe it's $2,000 for a set of 6 treatments. It works. It contracts your pelvic floor muscles. What you need to keep in mind, though, is what do you do when you're done? These are muscles, right? So as you strengthen your muscles, you're going to need to continue to strengthen these muscles. So 4 months, 6 months down the road, if your muscles start to get weak again, you're going to have to strengthen them again, and you might have to shell out more money to do these sets of treatments again. So the last ones that we'll talk about, these stimulators, are at-home external stimulators. So ours is called the ELITONE device. It is very simple in that it is super thin. This is called our gel pad, and it's placed on the pubic area, but externally. Nothing needs to be inserted vaginally. These blue areas, they are the conductors, those electrodes, and it sends current back and forth through your pelvic floor muscles to tell it to contract. And then it's attached to this tiny, tiny controller, which sends the current out. But this is so tiny and that it just clips onto your underwear. And then you could get dressed, walk around, because it's so thin and comfortable. You can go about doing your other tasks as you're getting treatment at home. And that costs $400. Well worth it. Let me talk about the cost of not doing anything for a few seconds. NIH did a study that if you don't do anything, your weakness of your pelvic floor will keep getting worse and worse. Your incontinence will get worse and worse. On average, women are spending $750 to $1,000 a year just on maintenance, just on buying pads, doing more laundry, and then graduating to like adult underwear garments. The pelvic floor muscle, incontinence is reversible. So I would definitely recommend everyone to get treated. If you can't do Kegels enough or on your own, use one of these Kegel exercisers. You can learn more on elitone.com. I hope this was helpful and informational. You can go find some more resources there. Please like and subscribe and give us some comments on what other videos you would like to see.